Yeah, Salaki about that. Back in the Jeremiah 1 and verse 9, it says, Then the Lord, Yahweh Shemal Washah, put forth his hand and touched my mouth. And the Lord said unto me, Behold, I have put my words in thy mouth. You see, so just like how the Lord put his words in the prophet Jeremiah's mouth, he's done the same thing today. You see, and the words that we're speaking forth is the destruction of this place, America, the ending of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man's beast system. You know, the end of this wicked society, man. The Lord has come to put an end to it. You see, and He's raised up the prophets, starting with our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, to proclaim these things to everybody, but mainly to the elect. You see, because once the elect hear this report, that would move them with fear, you see, and that would have them to turn back to Yahweh Shemal Washah. You see, verse 10, it says, See, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out and to pull down and to destroy and to throw down, to build and to plant. And this is the duty of the prophets. You know how the Lord said through Hosea, if I'm not mistaken, I have hewn them by the prophets. So this is why you're seeing these major events take place, that didn't take place 20, 30 years ago. You didn't have the technology increased 20, 30 years ago as you see it today. Now today is the new norm to the average person. These people expect technology within their lives, whether it's through a Alexa, speaker, or a nigga has grown accustomed to Siri. You got Chat GPT. You got all these different. You have all this upgraded technology. That would ultimately lead to that Revelations 13 and 16, that RFID MOTB being implemented. And it makes perfect sense because look at the society that we're in. The stage is set for smart cities, and that's just prophecy, beginning to manifest itself, and trickling all the way over to, those missiles. That sword has been sharpened, so it's not far-fetched. World War III is not a far-fetched idea, a made-up story. No, that's what Yahweh Shemal Washah has decreed. This is how he has decided to take this place out, with fire, man. You see? So let's read again. See, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out and to pull down. You see? We're rooting out, all these false philosophies and doctrines that this place has pushed forth. We're pulling down the strongholds. That's how we know that this is the truth. This is what's making the vibration of the planet Earth change, man. Because the words, what the words of a king is, there's power. Because this doctrine has went forth, man. That new song. And it's all tearing this kingdom down, to basically fulfill our desires, which is to see the downfall of our enemies. It says, and to destroy and to throw down, to build and to plant. And and in the midst of America being uprooted, thrown down, tore down. The Lord is building on the right hand side. He's building up the house of David, and he's planted the righteous, in the planet earth, the elect, to flourish, you know. But let's get this. This Revelations 11 and verse 13. Matter of fact, I'm gonna jump to 14. Yeah, I'm gonna jump to 14 first, and then I'm gonna jump. But it's Revelations 11 and verse 14. It says, "The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly." You see, so for you, Christians out there that may come across this video, explain to me if Revelations 11 and 14 is not talking about World War III, as we over here at Great Millstone say and proclaim that is actually talking about World War III. Well, tell us what this means then. What does this mean? The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. What does that mean? What does that entail? And of course, they may come up with some, false doctrine. A nigga may come up with a breakdown that don't have nothing to do with World War III. Because the Lord hasn't given you Christians the truth. You Christians don't know anything, and you Christians mainly don't know prophecy. So the second war is past. That's concerning World War II. And behold, the third woe, because woe means destruction. The third will come up quickly. You see, so the Lord is saying that World War II is already past, but World War III is coming quickly. It hasn't happened yet. This is how we know that this is a future prophecy for this time. And it will only make sense. How? Because you have missiles on the scene, man. You see? Jumping up to the 13th verse, it says, "In the same hour was there a great earthquake." And remember, it's only going to take the Lord 1 hour to destroy this place. "And the 10th part of the city fell," you see? And we know that America is divided into 10 FEMA zones, you see? It says, "And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, meaning a complete amount of people over here on the soils of America are going to be put to death, you see, are going to be destroyed by the way of that thermonuclear missile. See, this is going to clean up everything, man. This is going to, remember, this land, the land mass of America, this is going to be a memorial, This is going to be a desolate wilderness. You see? Everything, remember, the elements are going to melt with fervent heat. It says, "And the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven." You see? And the elect is going to be scarcely saved, because that's that remnant. But the remnant were affrighted. The elect is going to be scarcely saved, And that salvation is only for, the elect, the Israel of the Most High. Because 2/3 are going to, be left here and basically perish. You see? Verse 15, it says, "And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his anointed, and he shall reign forever and ever." You see? So The Lord is giving you, a glimpse into the future, so to speak, if you have eyes to see. You see? The Lord has already told us, okay, he's given us the past, he's given us the past by telling us, hey, the second war is past. World War II has already came and went. You see? And he said the third war is coming quickly. That's concerning the now, the present, So he's giving us the past and the present. And he's also giving us the future, you see? By telling us his kingdom is going to be manifest on this planet Earth, man. You see? That's why I said the kingdoms of this world are becoming the kingdoms of our Lord. Remember, Yahweh Shai had many crowns, you see? Because he's coming back to conquer all heathen nations, you see? Conquer all these kingdoms. You're not going to have Yahweh Shai's kingdom and then Moab going to have their kingdom and, Ham going to have his kingdom. No, this ain't no fucking what the heathens get to join in on the promises of Israel concerning rulership, man. That's why the Lord has given these heathens in times past and today, the Lord has given them time to rule. You see? The Lord has given these guys time to rule, man. You see? That's why I said Yahweh Shai's kingdom, that's the kingdom that's going to be established and is going to stand forever and ever. You see? So it ain't going to be and that cuts you jakes out there, that are teaching that Russia's going to, once America's destroyed, Russia going to come in and start taking shit over. That cuts you people that believe that China got next, or these world leaders or these other nations, like they gonna join together like BRICS, and that's gonna be the new the new kingdom that's gonna be established. Absolutely not. No. Once America's destroyed, Yahweh Shai's kingdom is going to be established forever and ever, and that's what we're, patiently waiting for. But the destruction is not at hand, you see? So now that we know that the destruction is at hand, we also understand that salvation is at hand as well. But this Romans 13 and verse 11, it says, in that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. You see, now is the time for you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans to wake out of that dead estate, wake out of that slumber, that sleep that you're in. It says, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So our salvation is nearer than when we believe, man. We in a time where the Lord is about to perform, great miracles for his elect, and this is what we've been waiting on for, generations, man. This moment right here, this is what the prophets have always inquired on. When would be, the end of our enemies and the beginning of Israel to rule, man. You see? And really, it starts now with this wisdom. Us possessing this wisdom, this is a form of power. And this is the kingdom of heaven, because we have this truth is within us. You see? Because wisdom bringeth to a kingdom. But Lord willing, that was edifying. I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, the men who taught me this truth. Peace and blessings be to the hopeful elect, you men, women, and little ones that believe on the words of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Shalom.